Let's get to the news.
Wild weekend in politics, as we mentioned. A lot of campaigning, just 2 weeks and a day until Election Day. Former President Donald Trump manned the fryer in an overall staged event, a campaign appearance at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris went to church in Georgia for an event that also featured a happy birthday performance by Stevie Wonder. Ed O'Keefe is covering all this for us, joins us now from Philadelphia. Ed, good morning.
Tony, good to see you. With just precious few days left, it seemed the contenders were just as interested in reaching voters as they were in checking a few things off their bucket list. And if you've ever wondered, what do the Pittsburgh Steelers, Al Sharpton, Stevie Wonder, McDonald's, and Arnold Palmer have in common? Well, take a look. Former President Donald Trump on offense last night in battleground Pennsylvania, visiting a Pittsburgh Steelers game.
Thank you very much.
It capped off a day of campaign stops.
And I've always wanted to work at McDonald's.
That included a visit to a McDonald's, closed just for him, where he tried scoring political points after claiming without any evidence that Vice President Harris didn't.
I'm not gonna lie, I think he did score political points. Like, this was a pretty decent photo op, you know. Can you really say that the situation is unacceptable if your ultimate message is we have to accept it? There's nothing I can do, man. That's it. There's nothing I can do. Like, it sucks. But let me tell you something that's different from their situation. When Bonercelli's community came after me for their stuff, posted on LSF, posted through Keemstar, the exact same avenues of pressure that Ethan is currently utilizing against both Twitch and a bunch of Arab content creators, myself included. Not an Arab, but, you know, just I am noticing a trend there, Arab or Muslim, who, you know, are outspoken about Israel. When that pressure campaign happened on LSF and whatnot over my term, okay, my usage of the term, it was laughed at by broader society. It was such a laughable thing that led to a ban still, by the way, but it was such a laughable circumstance that Nabisco, a brand, sent me a pass because that's how silly it was that Twitch responded to that form of pressure. This is different. Okay, this is different. You have to understand why this is different, because broader society in this circumstance might not with Israel like that, but brands absolutely will respond to people saying that something is okay. The ADL has a lot more influence in like professional circles than a bunch of Redditors being like, anti-white is the same as anti-black, okay? That's why I'm saying that there's not much you can do in this circumstance. There is nothing you can do in this circumstance. You just have to keep your head down, okay? That's it. That's how the real world works, especially if you, like people saying like, oh, can't you take legal action? Like, no, dude, you can't. What the fuck are you talking about? Do you think they will go after you even if you didn't do anything wrong? They have been. What are you talking about? Are you new here? It hasn't stopped. What was the word you used when you got banned? That banned you? And can you emphasize it? I said that was what I got banned for. And Twitch itself obviously recognizes now that it was a silly thing that they did back then. So much so that I had a Twitch produced show at TwitchCon where the first joke out of the gate was me using that. They're trying to get you banned again. It won't happen. Not over. He's also using Bonarelli's community to brigade shit. He literally platformed the D-Reddit and took anti-Hasan talking points from the Reddit and then used them today. It's fine. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. I think that it is endlessly selfish to engage in petty squabbles that you claim are genuinely consequential, more consequential than literal children being burned alive every single day. There's nothing you can do. Society and our rules have not adapted to the way that, you know, cyber harassment works. It just simply has not. I don't even know what the correct way to address any of this stuff is from a legal perspective. But the unfortunate reality is that you can pretty much get away with normal shit that you would go to jail for, like stalking and you know, leaking personal details of people, trying to blackmail them, trying to slander them. But you can kind of get away with that under the guise of anonymity online, especially if you have enough people with a shit ton of time, free time. If you look at an ongoing active and you go, how can I make this about my least favorite content creator? You are a deeply unserious person. That's it. It's sad. And no matter what happens to me, No matter what happens to others around us, ultimately, I will still maintain my moral conviction that Israel is a state, and that is unconscionable. And Israel is currently conducting it, and that is also unconscionable, inhumane. That's it. Everything else, and people try to hyper focus on, is just to derail the conversation away from that. Anyway, it's honestly a mechanism of control. These online communities need to feel like they're morally in the right, so they get wins by bringing down people blatantly contradicting it, so they don't have to face it themselves. I think there's a lot of people. I think there are a lot of people there that don't actually even have any sort of personal interest in the matter, and they're just simply brigading for the fun of it. I think I would go so far as to say that in terms of like real fears of, I'm sure Ethan has plenty of that. I think that there are certainly, like, I'm sure he sees the rise of some of which he considers, some of which is just straight up a criticism of Israel that he, I think, misunderstands. But then there's very real directed towards him, directed towards Hila, directed towards Jewish people across the board, and that terrifies him. And I think that there's a real element there. But if we're talking about destiny, he doesn't give a shit. How many times has he made jokes? Are you kidding me? Associating himself with like out and about platforming them, like literally platforming them. People talk about the Houthi interview. They're like, oh, you interviewed a Houthi who said he wasn't a Houthi. Like, he gave a lifeline of a career and has defended over and over again. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care about any of this stuff. He advocates for white people to say that. Like, what are we talking about? He's just doing this because it's a great way to, he's just doing this because it's a great way to open up a new vector against someone that he just truly despises. And there's not really anything I can do about it. It's not an accident. There's so many of these straight up are up in my mentions all the time, acting like now they actually care about, like, get out of here. Is there any thought that you might have done something wrong at all? I don't think any of the things that people are addressing in terms of like festering and manifesting is even remotely correct. I'm sorry. You have to be completely oblivious to my coverage on the matter. If you ever think that I let foster, manifest, you're out of your mind. I keep saying fester. Didn't you say it was cool marching on the Israeli and American flag? You think that there is something wrong with that? Oh, it's called free speech. I can burn an American flag tomorrow if I want to. You got a problem with that? You're not American, dog. You're goddamn un-American. So is this shit? I can't go back to Turkey for all my criticisms of the Turkish government. That's the one thing that Americans are supposed to hold on to. And here you are crying and complaining about the American and the Israeli flag being marched on. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Especially when it's directly being mentioned in the framework of like Israel and America doing it. Good luck. This is a D-troll. At this point, I don't know if it's a D-troll or an Ethan Klein fan, considering he gets his talking points from Destiny. I didn't even know what the H3 snark was for the longest goddamn time. And as soon as I saw the subreddit, I was like, this is unhinged. Okay? Because I'm a normal person. And it's kind of weird that Ethan turned around and is basically using the H3 snark subreddit, which is Destiny's subreddit, against me. Much more active, much more robust network of Orbiter content creators, many of which who despise Ethan, Destiny included. Time and time again, Destiny has called him an R-word, mentally deficient, all these things. But now that it's like actually a good opportunity for him to draw a wedge, you know, he just went back and is like posting Keemstar and all these drama losers that Ethan normally shits on. And not a single step of that direction has he ever thought, man, I'm really making some weird choices here, making some weird allegiances. I'm saying the Destiny subreddit is like H3 snark, but for me. A subreddit that I saw for 1 second and I was like, nah, this is not for me. Not interested in any of this. That's the difference, I guess, between me and Ethan. He called you pro-Russia today, Lamau? Yeah. Anyway, snark is not insane though. No, dude. Anyone that is that invested in a content creator is not all there. I'm sorry. You might have been a foot soldier at a certain point and now you hate Ethan. But like going to communities like that, and I repeat this all the time, and I'm saying this at a time when Ethan is basically using, once again, a cyber stalking operation that has been ongoing for 6 years, something that he knows very well, something that he has also been in the crosshairs of as well, to launch ridiculously cynical against me and all of these other people whose livelihood he has now successfully taken away for the crime of saying Sabra hummus is dog shit. Anyway, in the midst of an ongoing, that's your own that's the only output you have. Of course, people are going to assume that you're pro-Israel in that situation. Like, what are we talking about? Like, I'm so disappointed. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. You got it wrong. The Snark sub is pro-Palestine. No, dude, you're getting what I'm saying wrong. That subreddit might be pro-Palestine, but that level of hyper-focus on Ethan Klein or Gila or anyone is unhealthy. That's my point. Getting together, even if you're like correct on an argument or whatever, but getting together and developing a community entirely about a singular content creator is not mentally healthy. That's my point, okay? It's not healthy at all. I'm telling you. That's what I tell, and for the record, that's what I tell Destiny fans that come in here all the time too. It is not healthy to hyper focus on one content creator like myself and cyber stalk them for 6 years nonstop. You become a shell of what you once were when you engage in that process. Maybe it feels good. Yes, my chicken is cold at this point. Maybe it feels good at first. You have like a shared sense of purpose, like a community. Okay, let them do that shit. Why are you bashing on people that are against you? Because I care about every single person. Because I'm consistent, okay? Because even if someone is like bashing against someone who is, I promise you it is not healthy to be that lasered in on every single thing that a person is doing. That dialed in. I wish that people would be more healthy and stop doing this kind of thing against me, against everybody else. I don't think it'll go away. I don't think it'll stop. But, you know, you don't want to be like Destiny's community, man. You don't. It's a sad state of affairs. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, one day our bodies will perish, okay? There is a finite amount of time you have on this planet. When you are staring down the barrel of your demise, are you going to look back at these moments that you spent on random subreddits, perusing and endlessly hate scrolling, doom spiraling over a content creator that you hate? Do you think that will be productive? Do you think it is productive? Bro, you spend 24/7 on the internet in front of your screen alone in your house. Great retort. I do that. And I find a tremendous amount of emotional fulfillment out of what I do. Because if I can change one mind on any particular issue, if I can change one transphobic person, change their mind and have them not be transphobic, then that's it. I've done my job. If I can change one person who unconditionally repeated statements that they've heard, like Israel's the only democracy in the Middle East, if I can change that one person's mind from thinking that and repeating it unquestioningly to recognizing the reality of and there are thousands of you in here right now who have had their minds changed on any given matter. It doesn't have to be on everything, but on something, one thing. Then I think that everything that I'm doing is worth it. And for the record, I'm not saying don't disagree with Ethan. If you have disagreements with him, you have disagreements with him. I'm just saying that it's not healthy to constantly have him occupy your mind like this, nonstop. That's all I'm saying. It was clearly more than just bad hummus. Frogan's VOD on YouTube literally put Ben Shapiro next to H3 on the thumbnail. Yes, dude. Frogan is secretly, but she's just like communicating it on expert difficulty despite railing against time and time again. You're right. That's what's going on. Like, this is a hallucination, dude. I'm sorry. Yeah. She expertly mind controlled her Jewish podcast co-host into putting together this tier list with a common meme about how Sabra hummus is dog shit, but actually it meant something so much more than that. Because all criticism of Israel is
once worked at the fast food chain while in college.
She never worked at McDonald's.
She says she did. He leaned through the drive-through window to take reporter questions, but wouldn't say if he supports boosting the minimum wage.
I think these people work hard. They're great. And I just saw something, a process that's beautiful.
Down in Georgia, Harris went to church.
What kind of country do we want to live in? A country of chaos, fear, and hate, or a country of freedom, compassion, and justice?
2 churches, in fact, in hopes of convincing black voters to turn out.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
And later, Stevie Wonder showed up and sang to Harris on her 60th birthday.
I know people talk about a bucket list. I think I have just checked off a whole big one.
In an interview Sunday with Al Sharpton, Harris said she's not taking the votes of black men for granted.
Why would black men be any different than any other demographic of voter? They expect that you earn their vote.
Sunday's events followed a new level of bizarre comments from Trump. In the middle of a rally in Latrobe, Pennsylvania Saturday night, he spent 12 minutes speaking about the late golfer Arnold Palmer, including this off-color comment.
This man was strong and tough, and I refuse to say it, but when he took showers with the other pros, they came out of there, they said, oh my God.
And
Hello?
he attacked Harris with,
You're a vice president, the worst.
Harris responded on Sunday.
Donald Trump should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. He has not earned the right. He's not earned the right. And that's why he's going to lose.
Today, Harris starts her day here in the Philadelphia suburbs at an event with former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney in a bid to woo GOP voters and independents. Trump is headed to North Carolina.
What's good, big
tour
dog?
storm damage.
All right, Ed. Thank you.
Now, we're going to begin, of course, with a race for the White House. Just 15 days until the final votes. Vice President Kamala Harris getting ready to hit 3 battleground states today, and she's hitting back hard at former President Trump as he steps up his attacks on her. Our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, starts us off in Philadelphia. Good morning to you, Mary.
Ban Hasan next. Ban Hasan next. I do want to mention another thing, but okay, you ban me. Will your life improve? No, it won't. You will feel a brief moment of satisfaction, and that's it. All of the same troubles that you have yesterday will exist tomorrow. Okay? You ban me, sure. Does the truth change? It does not. You ban me. My conviction doesn't change. The situation on the ground in Palestine doesn't change. In Lebanon, it doesn't change. I'm just one guy, okay? You have to, the part of you that hyper focuses on shit like this, because it obviously is looking for purpose, looking for meaning. You are seeking meaning. You are looking for a community that you can be a part of. And the community that you have found is breaking your brain. That's it.
Hey, Robin, good morning. You said it, 15 days to go now, and the Harris campaign is dialing everything up, doing more events, hitting more battlegrounds with more star power and punching back even more against Donald Trump, now in almost real time.
Heading into the final sprint, Vice President Kamala Harris this morning arguing voters are facing a stark choice between chaos and compassion.
We face this question: what kind of country do we want to live in? A country of chaos, fear, and hate, or a country of freedom, compassion, and justice?
In battleground Georgia, Harris visiting 2 historically black churches as she tries to reach out to every key constituency.
I am very clear. I must earn the vote of everyone, regardless of their.
With just over 2 weeks to go, Harris shifting strategies, calling Trump out in near real time, overnight responding to his recent against her.
It demeans the office. And I have said, and I'm very clear about this, Donald Trump should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. He has not earned the right.
Harris is upping her warnings about Trump, labeling him as unstable and unhinged.
Channel 13 reports Israel is going to attack Iran soon. Breaking. Members of Israel's political security cabinet have been informed that a very significant attack will be carried out by Israel against Iran soon, according to Channel 13. Israel believes that Iran will react strongly to the attack. The report also says that Israeli cabinet members will not be informed about the nature of the attack before it happens. Obama follows the ADL on Twitter, and now he's aware of Frogan existing. That's kind of funny. There was a leak on this. Yeah, the real leak was that America was basically following closely the weapons and targeting capabilities of Israel, in which they actually openly admit to AUKUS partners that, or Five Eyes, right? Not AUKUS, to Five Eyes that they have as well. This was posted by Mohammed Magadli, a journalist and Palestinian citizen of Israel. It's a video of a girl, maybe 7 or 8, walking barefoot with her injured sister. I'm tired. I've been carrying her for an hour and I can't now.
وين مودياها؟ وانت مش تعبانه وانت حملها هيك؟ تعبانه ولا لا؟ وين رايحه انت هالقيت؟
Sorry, but this is an anti-journalistic trash argument. If you watched all kinds of arguments and attempts and explanations arose in you instead of compassion and deep sadness, there is no doubt that children are suffering a lot, most of them for no fault of their own, which is really sad. But we are not a competition of who suffers more. and the one who suffers more is the winner. You are trying to silence the arguments and explanations for the question of how we got to the situation and why the situation did not end a long time ago. As a journalist, you are supposed to explain who is inflicting the suffering on his people. That's cool, man. You are just contradicting yourself. It's not really a competition. Oh, this person. I was just reading his replies for some reason. There's comments on this video from Knesset members. Oh, God, I don't even want to know what they're saying. He ain't heavy. Amir Barkol. Heartbreaking, really, but such videos only strengthen my understanding that neither we nor the Palestinian children or other innocents can afford to remain in power there. God damn. This is Almog Cohen. He's an elected Israeli politician in his mid-30s, a former police officer who founded a militia force in the Negev. His tweet has been liked 1,200 times. I watched. No one is happy when children suffer, but when they were there sharing in the Kalva, I guess Helva, so now their children will pay. May 1,000 children of the enemy cry and not one of ours. Here's an Israeli woman that says there are no innocents there. This Israeli does strategic consulting and crisis management. He declares, we will be comforted in the destruction of... In turn, this Israeli citizen responds, referring to the journalist. This stupid Arab does not understand that he is unwelcome guest here. He and his scumbag friends. The Arabs have no faith. This guy describes himself as head of the party planning committee. There is a huge social cost to a society that shows the regime, support him in his actions. And today, they and their children are paying the price for as a society. Ironic, coming from someone who is very clearly defending the destruction caused by the country and its project. The party planning committee is part of the office. Not sure if it's real. It's probably not. He's not saying that it's a real party. He's just simply saying that, like, this person is, like, look at the juxtaposition of how this person carries himself or how this person sees himself versus what his output is. When it comes down to actual... This is a columnist for Israel Hayom, Israel's most widely distributed newspaper. Those who started the war and celebrated the slaughtered bodies of the net are now paying the price. The hostages now. Surrender now. Until then, there will be no rest. Let them eat what they cooked. The running theme is Israeli citizens referring to this mainstream TV commentator as a supporter of, if your friend doesn't don't care about these children, then why should ours care? Like, do you think anyone is allowed to speak like this about Israelis? Like, think about it. Yeah, I think it's unacceptable to think about Israelis like this. I don't think it's appropriate at all. And this is not even like, I'm not even saying that because it would be anti-Semitic. Okay? You will never be able to get me to see Israel as like anything that is remotely Jewish, you know? It's not. It's a country. It's a nation state with an ethno-religious supremacist project. Ridiculous. Just because some people voluntarily associate with this ethno-religious supremacist project as a good thing, as a positive association with a religion, does not change that dynamic at all. It's ridiculous. I feel like I'm losing my mind. It's like a forcible concession that is being extracted, demanded from me. No, it doesn't matter what the truth is. I need you to say lies. You need to say lies right now. And if you don't say the lies, I will try to get you deplatformed. Like, get out of here. A bit ago, you said you learned a lot about politics from older Jewish men. That one stuck with me. I mean, that was a meme for the most part, but yeah, of course. Michael Jamal Brooks used to say, my Jewish values teach me to oppose. My Jewish values teach me to oppose. And he was right. Everything I know, everything I've seen from the revolutionary culture of Judaism historically, overcoming great odds, overcoming pogroms, like, it is damn near antithetical to Jewish culture and Jewish history to be in support of an ethno-state. Are you going to get banned from Twitch?
And seizing on reports that Trump is exhausted by the rigors of campaigning.
Have you noticed he tends to go off script and ramble?
New Dropside News, Israeli-American businessman pitching $200 million plan to deploy mercenaries and... What the... It involves Eric Prince Stuart Soldowitz, the ex-Obama official who harassed the halal truck and got fired. A Green Beret who worked with the CIA. The man at the center is a passionate supporter of Kamala Harris. Moti Kahana says he's talking to the Israeli government about creating a pilot program for gated communities controlled by private U.S. security forces. That's awesome.
And generally, for the life of him, cannot finish a thought. And he has called it the weave.
She's also increasingly using Trump's own words against him at her rallies, especially to highlight the issue of abortion. In Georgia, Harris welcoming the family of Amber Thurman, who blamed the state's strict abortion ban for her, and accusing Trump of creating a healthcare crisis across the country, calling him...
He even Amber's family for sharing their story. Play the clip.
Amber Thurman's family have come out on a press call, and they're doing what's called a prebuttal 2-hour town hall right now.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah? And I want to
Get better ratings, I promise.
What we see continually from Donald Trump is exactly what that clip shows. He belittles their sorrow, making it about himself and his television ratings. It is, and listen, I promised Amber's mother that we will always remember her story and speak her name, Amber Nicole Thurman.
Now, Harris is also leaning into her star power, appearing this past weekend with Stevie Wonder, Usher, and Lizzo. And this week, she'll be out on the trail for the first time alongside the Obamas. Now, today, she's hitting all 3 of those critical blue wall states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. She'll be out with Liz Cheney. The final sprint, now on.
Yep, just a couple weeks to go. Mary Bruce, thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Politics Nation. Tonight's lead, in her own words. I'm coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia tonight, where just a couple of hours ago I sat down with Vice President Kamala Harris. We spoke about the historic nature of her race as she is now facing as an extraordinary historic campaign with just 16 days to go until the election. In just 3 months, that election will take place. Vice President Harris has managed to introduce herself to the American people and pull into a heat in the polls. Now she's seeking to draw contrast and mobilize her supporters in the final days of the race, including African-American voters.
Dude, this intro is so weird. Anyway, Reverend Al Sharpton is like, it's just like he doesn't have the smoke that he once did. And before people say Ozempic, he lost the weight before Ozempic was a thing. Like, I don't think he he lost I think he might be a lap band king. I don't think he's a Ozempic guy. Here's a 3-minute ad break, by the way.
Meantime, her opponent, former president.
He used to be fat. I thought he was always skinny. Oh, he used to be a lot of things. My friend. But yes, fat was also one of them. Brother, I beg of you, make your Chatterino font bigger tomorrow. Here, there you go. I made it bigger.
President Trump is ending with an increasingly hostile and erratic closing message. And that's where we start. Here is my exclusive interview with Vice President Kamala Harris. Well, thank you for allowing us on your birthday to sit down and talk.
Of course, Raph, it's good to be
And
with you.
I want to get to the Georgia vote and other issues, but let me ask you, as Vice President, and if you hopefully not presented with it, but as President, with Sinwar having been, how would you move toward a ceasefire? What do you think the United States should be doing?
So first of all, look, it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult, but we have got to get this over with. We got to get the hostages out. We need them to end. In fact, we're sending Tony Blinken, Secretary of State, out next week to go and meet with the parties there. And the Sinwar, I believe, has removed an obstacle to that end. And so we've got to work at it, and we've got to work at it through diplomatic means, and that's what we intend to do. But listen, the reality of it is that the difficulty of it all is not new to any administration in recent history. And it cannot be the reason that we don't work at it around the clock and be vigilant. And that's what we're going to do. And I think it's very important that that's what we do.
And balance. I mean, I remember in Selma, you made very strong statements about civilians being on both sides. And you stood up strongly on that. And I think that's a concern in all communities.
Well, I mean, listen, the number of innocent Palestinians that have been, it's really unconscionable. And we have to be honest about that. And at the same time, listen, I will always stand in terms of Israel's right to defend itself. And we need this to end.
We're in about a little over 2 weeks to the election.
Yes.
I have to ask you about your opponent. He used a very ugly term about you last night, using the S word as vice president. And how do you react to this kind of street talk from someone who wants to be president again, that was president. I've known you a long time, and I know you have thick skin, but I'm not asking you as a person, because I know you're used to that. But what does it do, in your opinion, to...
Am I crazy? Sexy. Yeah, Trump called her sexy. Schlonged. I feel like there's like nothing new that she puts out. Am I crazy? There's some Kamala heads in here, chatters. Some real ride or die Kamala heads, like Megaphonics, Idishder, maybe even Mind Drive. Like, where are my liberals at? I need to hear, am I going crazy? Or is she just like rehashing the same talking points over and over again? Not a hard Kamala, but she's basically running stump speeches. Yeah, it's like I know messaging discipline is important, right? Obviously, I've talked about that quite a bit. There's a couple different issues here, though. One, your messaging discipline doesn't mean shit if the message isn't good. But also, two, if like the policies aren't solid. But also, too, like there's a difference between messaging discipline and just like straight up taking a pre-canned answer and like trying to fit it into the same, like trying to fit the exact same word structure, exact same sentences into any kind of question that is like tangentially related to one thing. Like it almost feels like a AI where something gets activated when she hears like a certain keyword. Something gets activated, which will be like transnational gangs. I prosecuted them. Right? I don't know. I feel like there's something that is odd about it. I asked about this because it was grating on me, and PodSafe had someone on to talk about it. An average event she does like this have 20% to 30% of them never heard her speak before on average. It seems crazy, but I've heard that before in past campaigns. That's why message discipline from Birdie also matters. Maybe we watch Kamala Harris too much. You know what I mean? And that's probably what it is, because a lot of people just don't give a shit. Like, they don't. I always try to remind people that like we are not like low info voters at all. Even if you're not voting, even if you're just straight up like 10 toes down, not voting, you're still not like a low information non-voter. By the very definition of coming to a community like this one and just like consistently being laser focused on whatever that's going on, you are a high information voter or non-voter, right? Like, we are not the average American at all. And I don't mean like we're not the average American in the sense that like we want Medicare for all, but the average American doesn't. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I think that would be a valuable policy for every single person. It's just that, to be honest, part of it is also that Trump has zero message discipline. So listening to him is way more fun for us, but way less fun. No, Trump is boring as too. Trump is noticeably juiceless. He has lost the sauce entirely. He does the same shit too. He's always like, the immigrants. Stop your toe, it's a migrant. There are hundreds of thousands, millions, and gorillions of Americans every day. It's like, dude, shut the up, Jesus Christ. No, I don't think it's that. At least Trump uses different words, though, when he's talking about it. And then he peppers in, like, Arnold Palmer had a massive schlong. But, like, I don't know. I feel like on any sort of question that is not, like, because she does this thing where she has like answers. I think they've given her like a speech for every single issue, right? I feel like she has an answer for every single issue. So if there's a question that is like kind of related to whatever the answer block that she has for it, she just hits that block. It feels memorized. What do I mean by this? Like anything that like tangentially is related to immigrants, she will talk about how she prosecuted transnational gangs in a border state, right? Like, you shouldn't know that. You shouldn't know exactly what her speech is going to look like. She's using macros. Exactly. You know what I mean? You could be like, well, immigrants are contributing quite a bit to the American economy. She'd be like, I prosecuted transnational gangs. It's like, what? That wasn't the expected question. And I've seen her do that. I've seen her do that to migrants that are that have family members that are undocumented citizens, and they want like a pro-immigration answer out of her, and she will just hit that line again. She'll be like, I prosecuted transnational gangs. Like, it just, not that it matters necessarily. When I talk about this sort of stuff, like, I don't give a shit. My anger or resentment towards Kamala Harris will always be surrounding her policies, and will always be like, what I perceive is her running a bad campaign because I don't want Donald Trump to win. And so it doesn't matter that she's like, you know, not very charismatic or sometimes comes across as like inauthentic, like an old, like not even an old school politician, because like Joe Biden was an old school politician, but at least he was a good retail politician. So I think like ultimately, I fear that this is the type of shit that they will have to focus on. We know you're a single issue voter, and it's okay. She's still in the introductory phase. Unfortunately, we're running blind this season. We got on with Nancy Dropkick Joe. We know you're a single issue voter. It's okay. Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but aside from the intersectionality, of which I'm not even talking about, do you guys just like close your ears when I talk about immigration and stuff? Or when I talk about like certain policies that she advances? Should we go into this? I think we should read my Newsweek.com article that just came out, because I think I elaborate, or not elaborate. I talk about this quite a bit in this conversation.
The Democratic Party has this profound in snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. It's an issue that they would not have had if they had leaned on where people were hurting and how they were going to help them. And they didn't do that. They went with a very conservative lean. The Democratic Party's like harm reduction strategy as a way to just like shame voters away from extracting concessions and just voting for the Democrats every single time without making any demands whatsoever, as they actively push a lot of people in the base of the party away. If you rely on that without offering things to people, well, then you're inevitably shrinking your base. Whether Trump wins or loses, we are, and I mean this, living in Trump's America. Like, he might lose this election, and the Democratic Party will push Trump's 2020 agenda. That's what they're running on. That to me is crazy. That to me is genuinely terrifying to think about.
Notice how at all in that conversation, because I understand that America is uniparty on foreign policy. When I talk about issues, when I put my electoral hat on, okay, I'm talking about it specifically in terms of Kamala Harris's chances and what she's up. It's not me cynically trying to talk about Kamala Harris running a bad campaign because I care too much about it and I can't just like openly admit that. If you think that I have an issue personally stating that like an ongoing with our participation is unconscionable, you're making a mistake. I have no issue saying that. Okay, it is intersectional. It touches everything. That's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about electoral analysis. Okay, which is why, like I always do, I wear many hats. Okay, don't make me wear the hat again. Look, you see this? When I put this hat on, I'm talking what is the Democratic Party not doing that it should be doing, okay? It's not like for some cynical secret reason. I am very stubborn to a fault and very honest, okay? Just so you know. Just like when I talk about Trump and how dog shit his campaign is and how much he goes above and beyond, I'm not saying that because I'm pro-Trump and I want him to win. I don't want him to win. I want him to lose. I think that much is very clear. But you can somehow understand my criticisms of Trump and like thinking about Trump's electoral chances. You have the capacity, or you have the tendency to understand. You have the tendency to understand that I'm not a Trump supporter, and I'm like talking about this in terms of like the broader electorate. You should be able to understand that for the Democratic Party too. Anyway, the biggest influencer in young progressive politics is a problem with Vice President Kamala Harris. This is how the article starts. Hasan Piker didn't always feel that way. In fact, like a lot of other dyed-in-the-wool liberals, the Twitch streamer and social media star was pretty stoked 3 months ago. For the first time in a decade that Piker, 33, has covered politics, the Democratic Party appeared to be listening to its base. They did something that was truly unique to the Democratic Party's track record, Piker told Newsweek in an interview. They were responsive to public pressure. Public pressure was what pushed President Joe Biden out in the race in July. It was what Piker believes led Harris to choose a running mate known for his progressive policies over a safety pick like Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. That excited Piker, having to moss the popular and avuncular, love that word, governor of Minnesota at the top of the ticket, suggested that Democrats would bunker down and defend the policies that Republicans decry as radical. I thought that the Democrats would be trapped in a bind where they would have to actively communicate that feeding children is not radical, that family leave is not radical. These are the things that help Republicans and the Democrats. That Walz as VP would have forced their hand into a great messaging campaign. And then the DNC happened. Piker has 2.7 million followers on the streaming platform Twitch and 1.42 million followers on YouTube, surprised even himself when the Democratic Party let him stream from the Democratic National Convention, given his outspoken views on the war. Piker was born to Turkish presidents, New Jersey, skyrocketed to fame on the Young Turks, popular progressive YouTube show founded by his uncle Cenk Uygar. They didn't even write his name right. He's since gone out on his own, delivering political content and Democratic Socialist hot takes for 8 hours every day to a largely young and male audience on a platform Twitch that he says favors right-wing content. In recent months, Trump is fully, I wouldn't say Twitch favors right-wing content, but, you know. In recent months, Trump has fully embraced those types of platforms over traditional media, appearing on podcasts and streams hosted by other popular influencers like Theo Vaughn and Aiden Ross, a strategy aimed at winning the so-called bro vote. Piker said that while Trump's charismatic personality TV background lends itself well to coming across as almost apolitical for those platforms typically center-right audiences, is a path Harris could never take in the same way authentically and organically. Harris rode into the DNC on a high, despite having less than a month to pull together a presidential campaign. But even with all that working in Harris's favor, Piker said the Democratic Party has a profound of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. I knew if they go right, they will cut away this momentum, this massive fundraising campaign that they put together almost overnight because they respond to public pressure. It could all go away. The momentum could swing, and it could swing wildly in favor of the Republican Party. That appears to be happening. Since the convention, Harris's standings have stalled, leaving political pundits wondering if her campaign's honeymoon phase has ended and whether she is doing enough to break from Joe Biden and stand out to voters. Even after you said there wasn't a prominent leftist streamer on Twitch and tons of right ones when you started, that's probably what they mean. Yeah, I think so, yeah. Even after a well-received debate performance in September and the media blitz seeking the counter-criticism about running a basement campaign, Harris is still locked in a dead heat with Trump. In order for her to win the White House, Piker believes the vice president needs to avoid running the campaign Biden ran in 2020 or the campaign Hillary Clinton ran in 2016. Instead, he said she needs to hark back 16 years ago to Barack Obama's historic run. She has to run on hope and change. She has to activate younger voters. This is going to be an election where people are obviously demanding change from the current path that we're on. Polls show that voters desperately want said change, especially on issues like immigration and the economy, and Harris has positioned herself as a change candidate. But only 46% of Americans said Harris embodies change more than Trump. That's a real issue for the Democrats. It's an issue that they would not have had if they had leaned on where people were hurting and how they were going to help them. They did not do that. They went with a very conservative lean. That lean is almost evidenced in matters of immigration and border security, which have long been a political weak spot for Dems. After 3 years of GOP attacks, both Biden and Harris have separately taken firmer stances on the issue. In February, the White House proposed a bipartisan bill that sparked fury among immigration advocates who sounded alarms that it was a return to Trump-era policies. The package would ultimately fail after Trump convinced his MAGA allies to knife it. On the campaign trail, Harris has cast Trump as that bill, suggesting that her administration would support similar legislation. For Piker, the Democrats' concession on the border is part of a greater compromise that the party is giving into. The political landscape has essentially forced the Democrats out of the left. Whether Trump wins or loses, we are living in Trump's America, he said. He might not lose this election, and the Democratic Party will push Trump's 2020 agenda. He might lose this election, and then the Democrats will still push Trump's 2020 agenda. That's what they're running on, at least in terms of immigration. That to me is crazy. That to me is genuinely terrifying to think about, he continued. It's why I voted for Biden, right? I didn't want Donald Trump to get a second term. And now 4 years after the fact, we're going to have a Trump second term, but with a D next to it. Harris's willingness to appear more moderate in hopes of appealing centrist voters is the reason her chances of winning remain on a tight rope, Piker said. He blasted the party's harm reduction strategy, which he said Democrats use to shame voters from extracting concessions and towards voting the Democrats every single time without pause, pushes a lot of people away from the party. If you rely on that without offering things to people, well, then you're inevitably shrinking your base, he warned. Notice how there is no mention of in this, even though in our conversation I did bring up, I think once overall. Do you want to know why? Because I have the capacity to offer American domestic politics to an American audience that does not give a shit about American foreign policy. Because while I give a shit about American foreign policy, I know my base. I know that a lot of Americans are, little piggies, okay? Little piggies that want treats, that love their little treats and nothing else. And by the way, I'm not even saying it's treats that the Democratic Party is caving and capitulating to right-wing framing on issues. I think that's a devastating future. But overall, I recognize that most people don't care, okay? Merrick Garland may start to be de-thought about new DOJ lawyers internally pushing Merrick Garland to investigate Israel's illegal settlements, alleged war crimes of Americans. Oh my God. Activate Merrick Garland. Holy shit. Dude, lawfare time. Lawfare time. Let's go. That'd be sick. I mean, I doubt he will, but it's fun to dream. Let a boy dream. Activate the Garland bot, dude. Not gonna lie, I only saw this site posted. It's Zeteo. They do a lot. They do fantastic original reporting. So they're pretty solid. It's from Prem. So I 100% believe it. If he's writing about it, not that it's going to go anywhere, but if he's writing about it, they're probably thinking about it. Biden says he regrets appointing Merrick Garland according to Woodward. Wait, what? Really? Oh, because of Hunter Biden? That's funny. That's cool. I'm leading 64 House Democrats in calling for unimpeded media access for U.S. and international journalists. Biden must push for independent access for U.S. and international journalists in the interest of transparency, accountability, and the fundamental principle of press freedom. At a time when reliable information is more critical than ever, restrictions on foreign reporting undermine the very foundation of democratic accountability. Yeah, every time this kind of shit happens, another like Muslim commentator will get banned by the ADL, or another Weather Channel ad will get taken out because they were wearing a keffiyeh. Anyway, isn't Kamala pretty good on key issues like progressive stances on taxes, healthcare, green investment, freedom of choice, and good historically with unions, Biden? Like, she isn't just Trump 2020. That's why I specified that we are in Trump's vision of America in terms of immigration. Okay? And for the record, she literally is running on "I'm always pro fracking, I love fracking" as a campaign. Now, you can say it's because she wants to win. That's Neek's skit. Oh my God, is it? Did he change his name? Because he's writing exactly like this. Oh my God. That's amazing. This community is amazing. I love you guys. Never change, okay? That's crazy. Ay, ay, ay.
All right, now this. 22 minutes before the top of the hour, Lawrence has been visiting blue cities with an exclusive barbershop talk series.
Why'd you have to do the quotes with it?
Because it was in the prompter.
And last week, we had a very special guest.
So former President Donald Trump joined me at Knockout Barbershop in the Bronx to talk.
He's got to feel like he can feel the resentment that people have around him, right? Like, there's no way. Of the week this week again? Have I been branded of the week again, dude? Damn, 2 weeks? The 2-time champion, dude? What the? It's like literal in the United States of America. Sam Parker, the nephew of sympathizer Cenk Uygur, has been on an insane pro rampage for over a year now, streaming on Twitch. What did Twitch CEO DJ Dan Clancy do about it? Block Israeli users. DanClancySucks.com. Yeah. Good stuff, man. You guys are really it. You seem very normal. Nah, they just reposted the old one. Yeah, they reposted the old one. He's absolutely one of the worst. Up there with Hinkle. Hasan the Hun has spread more hatred for the Jewish community than a lot of people, and he pretends it's against the government of Israel and the Zionists. If he knew anything about Jews, he would realize how hateful he's being. Stand up to the hate. Is in this dude's bio. He's had Israeli citizens and a Knesset member on his broadcast, as well as other Jews. You're a blue check idiot, so you didn't know that. Him discussing Gaza with a Jewish lawyer, lol, overruled. Yeah, it's great stuff. What is this? Aha Kastad? Thank you for the 50 gifted subs. Since it might seem that there's a new barrage of hate coming at you for the moment, here's a small token showing you that there are many friends here as well. Please keep giving a voice to the voiceless. I mean, I'll keep doing that no matter what. Now they're going after Twitch's trust and safety employees. Congratulations, you played yourself, Twitch. Yeah, that's what's like. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that like these people are so unhinged. And I think a lot of people just don't know how they operate. So when they're met with like this onslaught of and mass targeting campaigns that they engage in, like, how are there no guardrails against this? There's not really anything. Like, there's not really anything you could do. You just have to wait it out. There's really. And capitulating to them makes it so much worse. What do you do to get past this vial? I imagine, even though it's bullshit stuff like that floating around, add some weight to your days. I'm so used to it after 6 years of endless harassment, dude. So for me, it's like, I don't know. I've figured out like defense mechanisms against it where, I don't know. I just live my life. There's not really anything you can do. I do think that, I will say it like this. I think that there is like most people look back at stuff like this and laugh at it a year down the line, you know? Cry yourself to sleep, laws. No, I don't do that at all. I live a very normal life, you know? It sucks. it sucks when things get heavy. But again, it's nothing. It's nothing in comparison to the death and destruction that people that I speak out for are experiencing on a daily fucking basis. You know what I mean? It's nothing. Oh man, you know? Oh man, people are once again lying on my name, lying about the things that acting like I believe the exact opposite of the things that I truly believe. See? And then people will go, just your average normal American millionaire. It's like, no, that's not what I'm recognizing the privilege that I have. I recognize the profound privilege that I have. A privilege that you guys have given me by tuning in, by watching, by subscribing. The editorial control that I have is profound. And it's all because of this community that I've cultivated. And that's it. And that's the reason why they can't go after my sponsors. So they have to go after Twitch, which is psychotic. Like, it's insane. Up hundreds, if not thousands of people's lives and livelihoods, you know?
The voters. Here's a look at that.
Nice to see you all. Nice to see you. Wow, how are you? Nice to see you. Huh? How good are the barbers here?
Excellent.
I'll bet they're good. Let's see. I can see they're good. They look good to me. Nice soft floor. What's that all about? Why is it so? What, wrestling matches? Thank you. Nice to see you all. How are you? Nice to see you.
He knows you are an anti-Semitic, but keeps implying what you said. Then he says you used to sneak behind his back and say different stuff to your broadcast as opposed to your show together. It's all stupid, all bad faith. Yeah, Cutie Umbrella, thank you for the 10 community gift of subs. Yeah. Is this a real barbershop?
Nice to see you. So you the owner?
My son's the owner.
Oh, you did that very nice and easy, huh? Is he as good as you?
Great.
Good. Nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. President, you know, I've been going to the...
Wait, ain't no way. What a train wreck. Staging a photo op at a barbershop, Secret Service falling over. Yikes. Wait, no, it's a real barbershop. It's not. They just have like oh my God, is Trump going to get hit with a Dominican Ray, dude? Like Mark Zuckerberg? He would be undefeated. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Once you get hit with the Dominican Ray as a swagged out white boy, you literally, you become too powerful.
The barbershops all across the country.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have a natural conversation, you know, with these folks right here. So this fellow right here, he used to be in law enforcement for some years. What would you say is the most important issue facing the country right now?
For me, it's the border.
Right,
For me, it's the border.
I agree.
And how to control that, how to keep illegal migrants from coming into the country.
Right.
Very important for me. And if I had a question to ask.
Bro, that haircut is what the... I question the integrity of this barbershop. I'm sorry. You know, you could be like, oh, there goes Hasan going after a small black business. But goddamn... Oh no, it started? Bro, don't even do this shit right now, okay? There's a lot of eyes here. There's a lot of eyes here who are like, Hasan is, they're going to be like, Hasan is trying to get people to write in Kaya Piker.
About it would be, how do we control the city, sanctuary cities? Because New York is a...
We get rid of them. We
Yes.
get rid of them because they're sanctuary. You know what they're for? Criminals. And all over the country, the criminals go there. But you're right. You know, the polls are showing that inflation and not the border's third. They have inflation and the economy as the number one and number two issue. I disagree. I think inflation is the economy, but the border to me is like, it's the fabric of our country. And we had the strongest border in recorded history. 4 years ago, you had a border. You didn't have the problems that you have now. Last week, they announced that we had 13,099 convicted released from jails all over the world. You know, it's not South America, it's all over the world, including South America. So I agree with you. I think the biggest problem we have is the border. It's something, and it's also the hardest thing to solve. And the only way you can solve it, you have to get the criminals, you got to get them out. You got to get them out fast before they prey on our people.
That was a big question for me because I'm a retired New York City detective.
Right.
So in New York here, we've run across that for a long
the other
time.
problem you have is that you're not allowed to do your job.
Yeah.
And when you were there, you go back 10, 15 years, when you were there, You were allowed to do your job.
Yes.
New York's finest. They're still New York's finest, but they're not allowed to do their job.
So when you were president, I know for a fact I was able to do three things. I was able to see money, save money, spend money.
Right.
Now in the past almost 4 years now, I'm losing my business basically. The
Are you
money's
losing
just
it?
not there.
It's your business?
It's my business. I started it for the past 10 years, and the only time I knew I made it was when you were in office, so I could speak for myself.
Right.
And the thing is, it's like, I don't know what more to do. How can we...
Stop and frisk, by the way, a horrifically policy that was struck down by the courts because of its unconstitutional nature, which was an abject fucking failure in terms of stopping, because it just simply was a carte blanche approach to allowing cops in New York to stop and detain black and brown people. Their apprehensions from stop and frisk was like so unimaginably low. It was crazy. Yeah.
Make the economy come back?
How do you get to the bottom of this?
So here's what we're doing. Number one, it all began with the oil. They screwed around with what I did with oil. We had the greatest. We were energy independent. You remember back 4 or 5 years ago, $1.87 for a gallon of gas. We actually had it lower than that for your car. $1.87. Now it's at $3.50, but it was much higher. They brought back my policies to break even, but by that time the damage was done, and now you have inflation and you have the cost so high, and they haven't gone down. We're going to do two things. Interest rates are going down. It's going to be brought down. It's going to be brought down fast, but much more importantly and quicker, we're going to drill, baby, drill. You've heard that, right? Drill, baby, drill. We're going to get our oil. We're going to have much more of it. That we're going to do 4 to 5 times more than we're doing right now. We can do that. These people are amazing. They can do it. And we'll be supplying it to Asia. We'll be supplying it to Europe. We'll be supplying it to everywhere. And that's going to bring down prices. It's going to bring down the cost of everything. If you make donuts, when you look at these stores, they have trucks that deliver. They have stoves and ovens. You have your lighting. You have all this, equipment. And all of that electric equipment that he's using on your beautiful head of hair. You have a good-looking head of hair. I'm jealous. Look at that flat top. I'd have a flat top. I wish I had a flat top. You never had a hair loss problem. It's lucky. It's one of those gifted ones. Anyway, what you do, those machines are very expensive. They're running the machines, that electric. When that comes down, like in a shop like this, no matter what you do, it's about energy. We're going to bring it down. We're going to get the prices down. How's your rent done in terms of, do you own the store or is it rented?
No, it's rented.
And is the landlord a good guy? Is he okay?
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's all right?
Yeah.
Do you cut his hair, I hope?
I mean, he comes in from time to time.
You know what? If you're as good as your father says, right, and you cut his hair great, that's very important to barber to a guy. So he could be a wealthy landlord, but he'll give you a low rent because having a good barber is a very important thing, I can tell you.
So, Mr. President, you got a young guy right there.
Bro, you can't say that. Bitch, your hair sucks. You mean having a good barber is a very important thing to a guy? It's like you've never met a good barber. What the fuck are you talking about?
The thing, though,
it's a huge thing.
So how has your rent been? So where was it like 5 years ago, the rent?
I mean, the rent was significantly lower. Now it's gone up.
Shut up your hair's ass. Bro, there's nothing funnier than trying to defend Trump's haircut. Like, bro, MAGA supporters, please, dude, please. I beg you, open your eyes, dude. You are literally, you have to be, man. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you can point to anything else. Like, you could be like, oh, you just hate how, like, I don't know, charismatic he is being, or how he can just, like, talk to normal folks, some shit like that. Okay? Like, even that would be wrong, but at least that's, like, a little bit more in tune with, like, things that you can optically hold on to, things that you can see. I don't know. Like, yeah, next thing he's going to be like, oh, Trump's tan? So much more real than your tan, dude. Oh, my God. Yeah, Trump, best skin tone out there. From the standpoint of skin tone, it's the best.
$1,200 since.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a big increase.
My issue was more the energy. I've been paying $2,100 since I first opened up. In the last 7 months, it shot up to $15,000.
What?
It's 15,000, and that's
You went from 2,100
to 15,000 in this establishment. Yeah.
How many heads can you take care of? That's a lot, right?
It's like by stealing and using for a lot.
So when from 2,100 to 15,000.
Yeah, so they
So
added-
there's an example though. Energy, right? So energy, when that comes down, ready? I almost hate to say because you'd be at 7,000, right? But your energy bill from January 20th, if I win, we gotta win. And we're gonna, by the way, and we're in New York, and these guys love New York. If we win, oh, I love this guy. Look at that. Give me that hat. I'm gonna sign up. Come on, give me that hat. I love this guy. Thank you very much. That's beautiful. I'll sign yours too. Look at that one.
We fighting with them. You might not be
So what?
He's very busy. I don't know why.
He's going to keep busy for a long time. So let me ask you, how much is it like a haircut? An average haircut. Guy comes in, he wants
$30, $40.
Yeah.
Right now.
What did it used to be?
15, 12, 15. Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about 10 years ago.
And-
Now,
yeah.
we have to make it make sense. You know,
Right.
like we can't charge the regular prices, especially out here in our.
Do you have guys like these guys? Do they come in and negotiate the price?
Yeah.
They probably do. I would.
What's your? Is the plan to do about the the food healthcare industry and getting the artificial foods banned in our urban.
Yo, Hasan, based on the sample size, Kamala's getting maybe 10% of the black vote. Trump is winning Detroit, Memphis, and Atlanta. Yeah. Let Republicans delude themselves, dude. Whatever. I mean, to be fair, every time Barack Obama comes out and says shit like, yo, black people, like black men gotta, not be misogynistic or whatever, like they probably are pushing. The Democratic campaign is probably pushing some black voters away, but like it still doesn't fucking matter. This is like Dems thinking Republicans will vote for them. Exactly. It's exactly like that. Dude, Trump has like 94% approval rating in the Republican Party right now. What the do you think you're picking up? Have you met a Trump supporter? Like, I don't think Democrats have met an honest-to-God Trump supporter. They literally think that they can capture the attention and maybe even the loyalty of some of the most out there. They are literally living in an alternate reality, okay? They are not living here. What are you doing? And the other part of this is like, Trump says he wants to do, Kamala says like, we're going to do deportations as well, but we're like responsible. You know what I mean? Trump is not. Okay. If Kamala Harris came out tomorrow and was like, we are the party of, okay, ain't nobody that is a Republican is going to believe her. They're not going to be like, hell yeah, that's the real party. That's what I'm doing now. I'm voting for the Democrats. Like, that's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. Want to see actual polls? Look at Poly Market. Isn't that the fucking dude? Are you crazy? You think I would ever look at some random as instead of a actual real poll? Like, holy shit, dude, come on. It's a crypto. Get out of here. Like, those odds are ultimately meaningless because they can be manipulated by like one guy, one dude who has a shit ton of money. Your worst take? Oh no. Pretty sure they're also backed by Peter Thiel. Oh no. Like, I don't know anything about Poly Market, but I do know about how these websites work. Okay. You could just dump like $10 million and greatly improve Trump's odds seemingly on that website. Why would you ever take that shit seriously? Come on, dude. You haven't shit on crypto enough recently? Yeah, I know. Because white men are the only one punting crypto on a presidential election? Excuse me. You haven't heard Kamala Harris's brilliant policies about how she's going to protect the crypto assets of black men. They put their money on it, though, Hasan. Yeah, who gives a shit? Poly Market and Nate Silver are both backed by Peter Thiel. How ingrained betting has become in our society is wild. I know that's another devastating aspect of existence in America in 2024. But don't get me started on that shit. Don't get me started on unrestricted, unregulated crypto casinos, brother. That's another reason why I draw so much ire from many different parts of the internet. Okay? Come on now. Come on now.
Communities that have less access to organic whole foods.
So Bobby Kennedy, right? Everybody likes Bobby. And he's so big into the health food and women, things, everything. He wants to.
He's so Bobby Kennedy. He's big into women. Olivia Nuzzi. That's right. What a smoke show, you see. Olivia Nuzzi. I call him Nuzzy. All right. RFK, so into women. Women things. Olivia Nuzzi, big liberal writer. Wanted to do the thing. The ladies here are sophisticated. They know what I'm talking about. They know what I mean when I say they love Bobby Kennedy.
Do things in the environment. And he endorsed me. First time a Kennedy's ever endorsed a Republican. Maybe it's going to be the last, but I doubt it. And he's a great guy. He would be so perfect. He doesn't like artificial foods, and he doesn't like pesticides and all the stuff they put on them.
Bro, you look like you've only eaten McDonald's for like the last multiple decades of your life. What do you mean you don't like artificial foods? Like, what the are you saying? Does Trump eat anything that is not processed? Does Trump eat a single thing? Like, listen, I feel like at this stage, if Trump ate like a real potato, he would perish. Like his body, your ego is showing. Wait, what? Why? What? I know he's talking about Bobby Kennedy, but like, it doesn't matter. He's like, this is not a thing that he gives a shit about, is my point. You should give more of a shit about the top of the hour ad break, though, which is coming right now. Subscribe for $6 or free with Twitch Prime if you no longer want to see those ads.
To him for 10 minutes. I mean, he says other countries that don't do anything are healthier than us. Okay, we're not that healthy, to put it mildly. So no artificial foods. We don't want artificial. We have plenty of food. The food isn't our problem. And our farmers are great. And our farmers aren't allowed to do their job. You know, our farmers did great 4 years ago. They were doing just about the best they've ever done. They're not doing well at all now. We're not going to have artificial foods. We don't want artificial foods. We want healthy foods. And a lot of.
What do you mean? Who's we? Are you speaking French? What do you mean? We don't want artificial foods, bro. That's crazy.
A lot of things are going to be going. And I'll tell you, I'm going to have Bobby Kennedy involved in it. He's a great guy. And even the way when I mentioned his name, all you guys, and you're tough cookies. You know, you wouldn't think, sometimes you'd say, maybe you wouldn't like a guy like Bobby. But he's a person that talks more about food and health than anything else. So I think that's cool. So we'll get it taken care of. You'll be healthier in 4 years from now than you are now. And you look very healthy to me, by the way.
All right, brother.
Thank you. Go ahead.
What do you have for the president?
Mr. Trump, my biggest concern is the future and the future generation, my kids' generation.
Yeah.
A lot of people are worried that attaining the American dream at this point in time and in the near future is going to be unattainable for this upcoming generation, which I have kids that are part of that generation.
How many kids you have?
I have two, a 17 and an 18-year-old.
Good.
Now, I believe one of the biggest hurdles we have when it comes to attaining that American dream is overtaxation.
Yeah.
When it comes to federal taxes,
Right.
I know we're going to bring back, I'm sure you're going to start back up the pipeline,
Right.
the Keystone Pipeline,
In 2 minutes.
which is going to generate an abundance of revenue.
Right.
Also, with the tariffs that you've spoken of. So my question is, with all this extra revenue we're going to be bringing into the country, so do you believe at some point in time we could find a way, once the country's back on its feet and getting enough revenue and paid off our debt, do you think it's possible to find a way to eliminate federal taxes?
There is a way.
And how do you feel about it?
You know, in the
What
old
steps would you
days,
take?
when we were a smart country, in the 1890s and all, this is when the country was relatively the richest it ever was. It had all tariffs. It didn't have an income tax.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Now we have income taxes, and we have people that are dying. They're paying tax, and they don't have the money to pay the tax. No, in the old days, 1890, 1880, we had so much money, they had to set up committees, blue ribbon committees, how to spend our wealth. We had no idea how to spend it with so much money. Then we went to the income tax system, and the rest is sort of history. But no, there is a way. I mean, if what I'm planning comes out, it's a great question, by the way.
Everyone could attain the
You're a pretty
American dream.
sophisticated cat, you know?
Everyone could attain the American dream if it wasn't for the high cost, the burden of high taxes, and
Everything.
we're taxed at every step of the way.
Yeah.
When we make it, when
And
we spend
regulations. And regulations. So I cut more regulations in 4 years than any other president by 4 times. Yeah, let's go. You were going to ask one question.
Yeah, it's really going to help this guy out when he cuts or taxes for the extremely wealthy. maybe he'll get $5 in return. You know what I mean? He might get like $5 back at the end of the month. Meanwhile, billionaires are just doing tricks. Okay. They're doing trick shots, 360 no scope. I don't even know how much you can lower billionaires' tax rate at this point. Like they already pay like 0.07%. Like what is 0.01 extra percent at this point? Like, what do you mean? It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what they'll say about this shit. Like, oh, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. What do you do? What do you do? What do you do at this point? Give them money back? We already do. It's called subsidies for the corporations that they inevitably take out in the form of profits. Like that's what subsidies are. We are already paying for their bottom line. Ay, ay, ay. Bro, I'm literally from the Bronx. I'm from New York City. I'm not lying. This barbershop literally gives out the worst phase. They my brother's up before his high school graduation. I can tell. I can tell from what I'm currently listening to.
What is one thing that you probably feel like you didn't do in your first term that you feel like you could do better now?
I'll tell you the one thing, because I did, look, we had the best economy with the best border. We had so I did a lot of good stuff, rebuilt the military. It's all about people. I got to get the right people. When I went there, I won. 92% of the presidents, 92% for the whole history of our country were politicians. 8% were generals. No admirals. 8% were, that's it. That's 100%. 92 and 8. They were politicians and they were generals. General Washington, et cetera, et cetera. George Washington. Thank you. You're doing very good at that. I'm just going to sign this.
I got longer arms than you.
Yeah, you do have longer arms. So here's what we do. We take all of that and we come, and here comes Donald Trump down the line. And so it's about people. It's all about people. I went to Washington 17 times in my entire life. So I wasn't a Washington person. I was a New York person. So when I went to Washington, all of a sudden I'm standing in the White House opposite the Lincoln bedroom. And I said, man, this is so amazing. But I didn't really know too many. So I had to rely on people to give me recommendations for people, to run agencies, to be secretary of this, secretary of that, all big stuff. And I didn't know anybody. I had to rely. And I still did great. Look, we rebuilt the military. We knocked out ISIS. We did all these things. We did great. We had the best economy. We had the best everything. Everything was good. But I had some people that if I had it to do again, I wouldn't have used. Now I've been there 4 years, plus another 4 that I'm sort of there in a way. I know the best people. To me, it's all about people. You got to have the right people. We have the best people lined up. We're going to do a great job. Listen, so I'm going down to see the Wall Street Journal. If I had my choice, I'd stay with you for 2-3 hours because you guys are great. You guys are the same as me. It's the same stuff. We were born the same way. I grew up in Queens and all of that. I mean, it's...
Yeah. He was born and had the exact same experiences as these guys. Yeah. Just the same. Man, come on, dude. Come on. How does this even read in a room like this where there's sitting in a room with a billionaire, okay, fake or not, doesn't matter. Okay, I don't know what his actual net worth is, but like they're sitting in this room and he's like, yeah, that's right. I have the same lived experience as you, Dominican man in a Queens barber shop making $45,000 a year. Like born into a profound in Bronx, sorry. Born in a goddamn, okay, my bad, I forgot. It says Bronx barbershop right in front of me, okay? He said Queens, so I got primed about Queens. It's ridiculous. Spreading misinfo again, yeah.
I had a great father. I had a father who was a great guy. He was tough but good, big heart, big heart. And he was a construction guy, pretty much. And
he was a construction guy, pretty much.
Real estate guy, and I learned a lot from him. He was great. But I know you people so well without knowing you. I know you so well. When I walked in here, I said, "This is home territory," and I really appreciate it. And you are fantastic. I bet he's a fantastic father. Take care of that guy, right?
I think we got time for one more,
okay,
Mr. President. Go ahead,
Mr. President, are there things that...
Is he a good barber too?
Yeah.
Who's better, you or him as a barber? How long have you worked here?
11 years.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, make no mistake. Trump and his father, Fred Trump, literally were investigated, prosecuted by the New York State for refusing to rent out their properties to people that are in this room, that look like the people that are in this room. So that's like, that makes matters even more interesting. Like, you know, lawfare. They've been coming after me even before. They knew I would run for president. They knew I would run for president. And that's why they came after me and my father 45 years before I ran for president.
Could he give me a good haircut yet?
You gonna do it?
That's the master right there.
Who's the master? Is he the best?
Right there.
This is your oldest guy. 35 years. I've been coming in 35
He looks like a young guy.
I've been coming to him since
Good job. You did a good job with your boy, I tell you, right?
Yeah.
You did a good job with your son, huh?
He's a great kid.
He's doing
Love it.
good.
I'm proud of
And
him.
you have other kids too?
Yeah, I got four altogether. Two girls and two
All
boys.
good. I'll bet all good. Right?
They're all doing great.
I can look at him and see that
I doubt the girls are voting for Trump. Let's be real.
you all
I'm
turned out
happy.
good.
I'm in peace.
Do they work here too at all?
No. One of them works with him in his restaurant.
Two that works with me.
Oh, good. What do you do?
I'm a real estate investor and I own a restaurant and a bar.
Good, great. You look great.
I'm
You
here
look great. That's a lie, dog. Look at his hair. Bro, this barbershop got the absolute worst advertising you could have ever gotten from this entire situation. It's like I have seen only a sea of up haircuts. Shit's looking like Yakuza side characters, bro. It's just like this is the type of haircut you see in like a 90s anime, okay? What is happening, dude? How did they find one barber in the Bronx that successfully has created some of the worst haircuts ever seen? Maybe that's what he was going for. Chill. I mean, dude, that is malpractice, okay? That is criminal negligence. You go to the barber and you're like, yo, can you give me the guile cut? Okay. And also, look at this. It's all kinds of stuff. They haven't even blended it. Like, I don't know what the hell happened here. But let me tell you something, okay? You go to the barber and you're like, I want the guile cut. And the barber says, yeah, no, I got you, fam. That's like, you can sue that person, okay? You can sue that person. It's malpractice, dude. It's barbarism.
to the president. I got to look great.
President, I think we could say here collectively, I met all these guys.
Bro, he looks like he got the haircut that looks like, you know, that Turkish barber in Germany that like will freeze your head. That's what it looks like. It looks like a big ice cube. You know what I'm talking about?
Today, for the first time, but we all love America just like you. And that's why we're here.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mr.
Really
President.
nice. Thank you. Thank you.
It's great, Lauren.
So I got to tell you, if you've been watching Fox for years, I've been talking about the barbershop for years. And
oh my God. Okay, dude. Come on. Oh, yeah. It's a thorny issue, honing on the legality of Musk's $1 million daily giveaways to voters. I'm just gonna skip that. I don't really care. We already covered the far right Israelis gathering for